All right, it is the evening weather briefing for Monday, the 29th of September, and this is the actually afternoon edition. I'm Josh Brown, and the reason why I'm coming on a little earlier today is because I do have a late night shift at work this evening, so I won't be able to do the forecast as usual, which is basically at 8 p.m. So that's going to resume heading into tomorrow night. So I do apologize for that, but I hope you don't mind me coming in a little early. But anyways, I hope that you had a great weekend, and also hope that you're having a great Monday so far. And yet, the big story is the tropics. We're watching yet both two named storms that are about 800 miles apart, and that is yet both tropical storms Imelda and Hurricane Humberto. So we're gonna get to that here in just a moment here. But of course, let's go ahead and check the radar and see what's happening currently across Central Florida as we are on this early Monday afternoon. And so far, we do have some fast moving showers out there this afternoon across parts of Central Florida. As I go ahead and play the loop here, and it seems most of these showers are moving from due north to south. We'll say at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. And this is associated, by the way, from Tropical Storm Imelda. But understand that the center of the storm is going to stay offshore from the east coast of the state of Florida, and even here in our inland locations. But understand, though, if you're heading to the east coast of the state here for the next few days, it may not be a good beach day because we're expecting the potential for significant rip currents, minor coastal beach erosion, and rough surfing. So please do keep that in mind. So I would recommend staying out of the waters as we head through at least by Wednesday. But I do think by Thursday and Friday, I think the rip currents and the rough surfing should be able to go down as the eye of Imelda pushes way off from the east coast of the United States, as it will take a right turn by then. Okay. But let's go ahead and zoom in closer to city by city and see who's seeing some of these quick showers this afternoon. And this is affecting areas like Pine Hills, down around Highway 50, near Orla Vista, which is just to the west of downtown Orlando. And that stretches up here also a little north to go towards Edenville, Fairview Shores, Lockhart, Piermont, Clarkona, up around South Apopka, in the Apopka areas. And we also have some showers up here too in parts of Volusia County and Seminole County too, affecting areas like DeBerry to we'll say near Highway 44 and in the communities of Kesia, and then over here near Johnson's Corner, Lake Catherine Heights. And then we have more showers up here also in northwestern Volusia County, affecting Yellow Bluff, Lake George, Denman Landing, which is about west of Highway 17 is where the location is at. And then you got more showers up here too, just outside of our viewing area, and that is affecting Pomona Park, Crescent City, and also some more over here in Flagler County, affecting Flagler Beach, Beverly Beach, Bunnell, DuPont, Corona, and the Black Point communities. So I do expect these hit or miss fast moving downpours to be with us here for most of the day today. But I think this should be winding down, if I'm not mistaken, here by we'll say later tonight, with another band coming our way heading into the day on Tuesday and Wednesday. But flooded rains, of course, it's not expected with this system though, so please understand that as the totals stay pretty low. And we also have more showers also down here in parts of Osceola County, affecting places like near St. Cloud to Harmony, around Highway 192 here near Bull Creek to 441, just close to Lake Marion is where these showers are at, and that's on top of Whittier and Lake Marion Highlands. And some more of that too over here in Polk County around Altaras to, we'll say along Highway, or I'm sorry, Altaras Babson Park Cutoff Road is where these showers are sitting at too. This is just to the west and southwest of Highland Park. And again, here's another view of Central Florida, and we'll get back to that here pretty shortly. But let's go ahead and switch over to the big satellite picture on the tropics. And again, we have two named storms over here. That's 800 miles apart from each other. And right there, as you can see on the west side, is Tropical Storm Imelda. And then east you go is Hurricane Humberto. Let me go ahead and turn on the latest icons of each storm. So let's start off with Humberto. That is again out in the Atlantic, just west of Imelda, and as you can see here, it is still as a major Cat 4 hurricane with winds here estimating at around 145 miles an hour, and it's moving a little bit quicker this time to the northwest at about 13 miles an hour with about a 940 millibar low. And it looks like it will stay as a Cat 4 at least through the next several hours, but it seems it should be able to downgrade back to a Cat 3 by, we'll say, tomorrow morning once it moves just to the west of Bermuda, as you can see. And then down to a Cat 2 once it makes to a right turn to the northeast, we'll say between Wednesday and Thursday, and then finally down to a Cat 1 by the end of the week as it enters the North Atlantic cooler waters. But for Imelda, and again, besides the center of the storm staying away from the east coast of Florida, it will remain as a tropical storm for the next couple of days or so as it moves out of the Bahamas region, which they have been getting hammered by heavy rain and gusty winds over the weekend. But it will still form into a Cat 1 storm here, we'll say, tomorrow morning at around 8 o'clock as it takes a right turn to the east and northeast. And it will stay as a Cat 1, we'll say, through the next couple of days, at least through about Wednesday. And then it looks like Bermuda could be hitting by Imelda, we'll say, at least the center of it, we'll say as early as Wednesday, or Wednesday night, rather, as a Cat 2. So if you got any friends or relatives that live in Bermuda, or if they're maybe on vacation right now, you may want to check on them to make sure that Imelda will be heading into their direction within the next couple days. And of course, that area will be affected by Humberto, at least the impacts, but the center will stay west of there. So just keep that in mind too. And it looks like Imelda should be downgraded to a Cat 1, we'll say, by Thursday morning around 8 o'clock. And then once it enters the cooler waters of the North Atlantic, it should be able to downgrade back into a tropical storm. So yeah. So yeah, that's the only two. So that's the only two storms we have here right now across the Atlantic. But so far, the others, as far as tropical wise goes, for the central part of the Atlantic, the Caribbean and the Gulf looks to be quiet, with no formations expected within the next 5 to 7 days. So let me go ahead and switch back to radar here. Turn off the tropical icons to name storms that is. And before we get to the models here, let's get a final check of the radar one more time. And again, what you're seeing right now is just some quick moving downpours. Mostly there's just tropical showers, you can call it here, that's happening across central Florida. And again, they should be staying spotty in nature throughout most of the day today. So if you do get a shower today, it will not last much longer since they're moving pretty quick. But just understand that if you have some plans later this afternoon and evening, and again, this is associated with the effects of Tropical Storm Imelda that is again off of the east coast of Florida. All right. So here's a look at the wind speeds right now with Imelda this afternoon. The show is mostly at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, mostly around along the coastal communities between Jacksonville and down south towards, we'll say, as far as Fort Lauderdale. But here inland for Central Florida, you have winds picking up as high as 5 to 10. For Orlando, we'll say down towards Kissimmee, Winter Haven, towards Brevard County near Palm Bay and Melbourne, and the same up here towards the Villages. But as far as the gusty winds go, we have mostly at about 15 to 20 over here along the eastern areas of the state from Jacksonville and yet down south towards Miami, with winds at about 10 to 15 gust-wise for areas between I-4 and west. But let's check the temperatures right now, and because of the breezy conditions with Imelda, that is helping numbers started to drop a bit, so it's not going to be quite as hot than it has been recently in an average way. So right now we have temperatures sitting in the mid to upper 80s for areas between central Florida and south, and we have numbers a little cooler up north, where there are some 70s and lower 80s for places like Ocala, Jacksonville, up and around Georgia, and for portions of South Carolina, where they're also feeling the impacts of Imelda today too. But let's go ahead and check out the current wave heights right now from the Surfline website, and it shows wave heights picking up as high as between about 11 to 17 feet between from Jacksonville down south into near the West Palm Beach areas, as you can see here on the latest trend. And again, this is all associated with Imelda, so this is why if you've been thinking about heading to the beach either today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, may not be a good time to do that because of those rough rip currents and those rough um, surfing conditions, you can say. But if I could play the timing on the wave heights with this what you call it the futurecast portion of it, and it looks like the wave heights will stay mostly the same here heading into the rest of the day today. Same heading into the overnight onto Tuesday morning, again between about 10 to 17 feet, that is, and that stretches all the way up into near the coastline of Savannah, off near the coast of Charleston and the Myrtle Beach areas is what you're seeing here. And yet that same trend continues heading into Tuesday night. But thankfully, it's starting to wind things down a little bit here by Wednesday. But the risk is still there, though, so don't let your guards down. So it seems that the forecast wave highs on Wednesday shows between this time at about we'll say at about 5 to 10, if not 11 feet or so, for the east coast of the state, and the same also for the coast of Savannah and Charleston, instead of over 17 feet. And it looks like wants to show the waves picking back up again heading into the day on Thursday is what it shows as well, and also on Friday. And this affects the Gulf Coast side too. So I would say today, tomorrow, and Wednesday may not be the best days to go to the beach because of not just the rip currents and the rough surf, but also some of these coastal showers that we may be seeing here and the potential for minor beach erosion. But I think by Thursday and Friday, uh, since that the worst impacts of Imelda will be moving away from the east coast of the state, you can go to the beach if you want to, but just beware the rip current risk may still be out there. So I would still avoid being on the waters if you could. According to what I'm seeing here on the latest timing of later this week as far as the heights go. I mean, Wednesday doesn't look as bad, but by Thursday and Friday it starts to pick up again. So that's what I'm saying. But yeah, there you have it. So yeah, there you have it there. So let's go ahead and switch on over to the her model as which just take you through the next 18 hours, and we'll begin off with the wind forecast heading into the next uh, 18 hours. And before we get to that, if you're just coming on into this live Facebook feed, I don't mind if you could share this with your friends, families, followers, etc. And you know my motto, and that is sharing is caring. And before we get to the rest of our update, I'm going to go ahead and share this feed to a few other Facebook group pages. So just give me just a few more minutes, and we'll move on. All right. Sorry about that again, folks. Alrighty, so here's a look at the wind forecast with Imelda as we head into the next 18 hours. It looks like we'll see winds start to remain pretty much the same, about 10 to 15 over along the east coast of the state, with perhaps around 5 to 10, if not a little bit greater than that, for our inland locations about through this evening. And it looks like the winds for our inland areas should be winding down between 5 to 10, we'll say between 10, 11 o'clock tonight, but still a little bit gusty towards the east coast between 15 to 20, so picking up a little bit. And the same thing as we head into daybreak on Tuesday by 6 o'clock or so. But as far as the showers go for the rest of the day, let's take a look at that. And yet those fast moving downpours rather will continue again for the remainder of the day today, with the rain chance again about 40 to 50%. It looks like there might be some more showers moving in from the west, or from the east to west rather, associated with the Milda along the east coast here between midnight or so tonight, and then staying that way here for yet through the overnight on to daybreak on Tuesday. But as far as temperatures go for the next 18 hours, let's get to that. So it seems that for the rest of the day, we'll see temperatures yet remaining a little bit on the cool side, where you have some 70s into the lower 80s here for the state, with some 70s mostly up around the eastern side of Georgia and for portions of South Carolina. And then we'll see numbers go down around the 70s here by late tonight, and we'll stay that way for lows heading into the morning of your Tuesday, with temperatures a little cooler to start off for Alabama and Mississippi, where there could be some upper 60s and low 70s, as you can tell on the latest trend there. And let's go ahead and switch over to the NAM model, which does take you through the next couple of days here. And yet for the winds, it looks like we'll stay pretty gusty here for the day on Tuesday, about 15 to 20, if not perhaps as high as 25 miles per hour for Interstate 95 between Jacksonville down into near Fort Pierce, with perhaps inland winds picking up as high as 10 to 15, so it'll be more breezy at times heading into Tuesday to close out the month of September. And as you can see, here's the eye of Imelda as it pushes away again from west to east, away from the coast of Florida, and that's when it'll be, and that's what it'll be. Ugh, can't even talk here. That's when it will become into a hurricane, is what I should say. By then, and it looks like the winds will start to die down a little bit here during the late night hours of Tuesday on into early Wednesday morning. Still a little gusty for the coast, but for our inland areas, staying pretty light. And then it looks like the winds will start to pick up just a little bit heading into Wednesday afternoon to kick off October. We'll still feel the impacts of Imelda, but not quite as gusty for the East Coast as it'll be for today and tomorrow, this time at about 10 to 15, as you can see. And let's go ahead and switch over to the precipitation portion to see who may see some more showers heading into your Tuesday. And it looks like there might not be a whole lot of rain to deal with here for Central Florida during the afternoon and evening of your Tuesday, but there may be a slim chance for maybe a coastal shower or two for the day tomorrow, with better chances mostly staying south and southwest of here. But it shows here by midnight or so late tomorrow night, some coastal showers may start to become a little more widespread for Brevard County, between near Titusville to Scottsmore and the Cape Canaveral areas, and they become a bit more heavier here as it pushes a little south towards Palm Bay by 3 in the morning on Wednesday, and then continuing on into daybreak then. And yet, we may see some more showers, not just for Brevard, but perhaps moving into portions of our inland locations here between 5 or 6 Wednesday evening, and then still remaining here between 7 or 8 then, so around the sunset hour. So how much can we expect with these showers with Imelda heading into the next couple of days? And like I said, not much, because we're not expecting any flooding rains with this system. So we're talking about anywhere from between about 1 to 3 inches for the next few days for our eastern coastal locations from near St. Augustine down into near Brevard County. But others in the greens and those blues and yellows indicate we can see about a half to perhaps for some of you at about an inch or so, especially from I-4 and south, as you can see. So what about temperatures heading into the next few days? So moving on, we're going to move fast forward into Wednesday afternoon, or Tuesday afternoon rather, and it shows temperatures yet only getting up as high as the upper 70s and into the lower 80s due to those breezy conditions around our area, with a little warmer down south where you have temperatures remaining in the upper 80s and into the lower 90s, a little bit of a warming trend for places like Tampa down into Miami. And then you got temperatures yet hovering in the 70s and into the lower 80s for Alabama, and off towards the far east you go towards the coastline of South Carolina, again related to the impacts of Imelda, or some of them. And then moving into late Tuesday night on into early Wednesday morning, we'll start off with low temperatures, a little bit on the cool side. So some of you could see temperatures begin in the upper 60s, while others could see lows in the low 70s. And you have low temperatures in the mid 60s to start off with for the eastern side of Alabama on into Georgia, and for portions of South Carolina. And then later in the day, Wednesday, we'll see temperatures yet heating up a little bit, but still staying close to average in the 70s and 80s for most of the area, with perhaps the same thing up north you go towards the Mississippi Valley. And then we'll see some 70s and lower 80s to end the day Wednesday by 8 p.m., as you can tell here. So that's the latest. Let's go ahead and check out the GFS as we head into the next couple of weeks. So by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, we'll see another band of showers and thunderstorms, but probably not associated with the mule at this time, so just do keep that in mind. And it seems the better chances will be mostly along the east coast of the state, from Jacksonville down south towards the deep southern part of Florida, with less chances west you go. And we're going to call for about a 50 to a 60% coverage of seeing some of that activity here for our region. Well, here in Florida, that is. And it looks like we'll keep temperatures yet a little bit on the cool side. As you can tell, we could see high temperatures that could range anywhere from the upper 70s and low 80s, and the same goes up north. You go towards the eastern side of Alabama, and farther more east you go into the coastal areas of South Carolina, including the Charleston areas. And it looks like temperatures up north by Thursday morning will turn out to be even much cooler than here, as an approaching front may start to move in. And we're talking temperatures beginning off in the 50s and low to mid 60s up north. And the same goes for the Panhandle, but not so much for here in Central and South Florida, as we'll see temperatures yet remaining just on the mild side, and that's pretty much in the way of low 70s, as you can see. And then by Friday afternoon, yet more rain is on the way for the East Coast, or not just for the East Coast, but for the eastern side of the state, which includes inland locations, if you know what I mean, as moisture continues to increase yet from the Atlantic region. And if this is right, the rain chances could increase as high as 60 to a 70% coverage, and that leaves the Mississippi Valley and from the northwest side of the state remaining fairly quiet as the week concludes by then. And yep, we're still keeping temperatures yet a little cooler than average, but mild at times, where we may deal with pretty much in the way of upper 70s and into the low, and for some spots in the mid 80s around that time. And yet another cool start to the day up north, where temperatures associated with that new front moving in, dropping it in the 50s and into the lower 60s for places like Birmingham, Jackson, Montgomery, Atlanta, and stretching off more east, you go towards the Augusta area. And you got temperatures beginning off in the 60s for the Panhandle, but for us, it'll be mild with lows in the 70s as usual. So no changes there, unfortunately, for the next several days. And yep, the wet weather pattern continues as we head into Saturday. Yet the rain chances stays pretty high at about 60 to a 70% coverage, we'll say for now, leaving yet the valley and from the northwest side of the state staying fairly dry, if that's the case. And yet, temperatures looks to stay the same as we're talking another round of upper 70s and lower 80s around the region, including here in central Florida. And it looks like something wants to try to form over here towards the Gulf region, tropical wise. So that's something we could watch here, but it doesn't show anything interesting to see here, as that center over here looks to be moving in towards the coast of Mississippi and Louisiana, but nothing as far as the hurricane strength goes. But something we'll be watching closely. But as you know, we're still several days out, so that can always change by then. But let me check the European to see what it has to say about this, though. And it shows nothing. So it looks like both the GFS and the European model shows a difference here for as far as the tropical mischief goes for the Gulf heading into this upcoming weekend. But I guess we'll know by then as we get close to the weekend to see if that's true or not, because there's just a difference. Let's go ahead and get back to the GFS. And it seems that for now, more rain is on the way here for the southeast. Well, not just for Florida, but also pushing up into the Mississippi Valley as the 5th arrives. Yeah, thanks to all this moisture coming in from the Gulf and the Atlantic regions. And some of the rain could be heavy at times, actually, especially for the east side of the state on Sunday. And the same goes for the Gulf of Biloxi and the Pensacola and Mobile areas. But it seems that temperatures will start to warm things up back to a summer average pattern. As you can see here, we're talking a return of upper 80s and into the lower 90s. And you got temperatures starting to drop in the 60s and 70s associated with that system. Also heading into the day on Sunday. And yeah, that's for the Mississippi Valley region is what I'm referencing to. And then this is Monday of next week, October 6th, and it shows the rain chances dropping a little bit. We'll say close to average at 50% and maybe 62. And that goes for the same thing also for the lower half of the Mississippi Valley region. And yet, still keeping temperatures a little warmer than average, and it shows anywhere from the upper 80s and low 90s, with temperatures a little cooler up north, but still mild at times in the 70s and lower 80s due to the rain moving in from the south to north, excuse me. And yet, the wet weather pattern continues as we head into the day on Tuesday, October 7th. Better chances here for Florida, with elevated chances yet up in the Mississippi Valley region. And it seems that temperatures will start to drop again, a little cooler than average in the 70s and lower 80s here around the region. Don't see any cold fronts coming through by then. And the same pattern yet still remains for the state heading into next Wednesday, October 8th. And some of that rain, again, could be heavy at times, this time for parts of Orange, Osceola, and Brevard counties, where it shows totals in one day about 4 to 6 inches. So that's something we'll be watching closely, but understand we're still about 1 week out and that things can change as we get closer to that time frame. And it seems the rain chances also for the lower half of the Mississippi Valley will start to drop a bit, we'll say at about 40%, so just an elevated category, at least for the moment. And yeah, because of the high rain chances means that temperatures will stay pretty much right now in the low to mid 70s, as you can tell. And a little bit of a warming trend returning for the Mississippi Valley as it shows a return of low to mid 80s. All right, and this is here we are close to the land of voodoo country. This is for Thursday, October 9th, and yet more rain still continues covering yet the peninsula side of Florida, and this time the Mississippi Valley and the northwest side of the state will turn out to be mostly dry by then, as this moisture will start to push a little southward into the Gulf, if that's true. And looks like we'll keep temperatures not too bad, as you have upper 70s to lower 80s hanging, and then you have temperatures up north warming up a little bit, anywhere from the upper 80s and into the lower 90s, as you can see. And the same goes right down here towards the southwest Gulf Coast section of the state of Florida. All right, now, so here is the real land of voodoo country, and this takes you into the day on Friday, October 10th, and yet the rain cannot quit anytime soon, as the pattern remains unsettled for most of Central and South Florida. So it seems the only part of the Southeast that will be turned out that will tend to stay mostly dry, that is, will be up here towards the valley and for the northwest side of the state. And it looks like we'll keep, but yet temperatures a little close to average in the low to mid 80s for Central and South Florida, and you got temperatures up north yet looking to be a little bit warmer than average in the upper 80s and into the lower 90s. Again, if this is right, but as I've said before, that can well change as we get closer. Just looking to see if there's anything interesting to watch here for the tropics, both on the Atlantic and the Gulf sides, and so far, no, which is some good news as far as I'm seeing. And this is for Saturday, October 11th, and it appears the rain chances for Central and South Florida will start to drop a bit. We'll say at 50%, so we're talking just an elevated coverage with all this deep moisture remaining over here towards the west side of the Gulf, as far as I'm seeing too. And yet the Panhandle side of the state of Florida in the Mississippi Valley yet tends to stay fairly quiet on that same day. And it looks like we'll keep temperatures yet looking to be a little bit on the cool side in the 70s and into the lower 80s, with numbers up north yet looking to stay a little hotter than average in the upper 80s and low 90s, especially for Alabama into Mississippi and parts of Louisiana. And then you have highs in the mid 80s for most of Georgia, and off towards the far east and northeast you go into portions of South Carolina. And then this is on Sunday, October 12th, and the rain chances yet do pick up again as the moisture starts to push off towards the east here. And if this is right, we'll call for about another 60 to a 70% coverage. Just seeing some of that unsettled activity here from most of the peninsula side of Florida. And yet that leaves the northern part of the southeast, like the Mississippi Valley and the Panhandle, staying yet fairly quiet with no rain in sight. And yet, with all this moisture increasing again, that will again keep temperatures a little bit lower in the 70s and lower 80s for Central and South Florida, with numbers yet a little bit higher than that in the upper 80s and low 90s for I-10 and north towards the Mississippi Valley. And yet, as all this moisture continues to push off towards the far east, this time in the Atlantic region, that will start to die down the rain chances back to around 30 to 40%. If this is true, this is for the 13th again. Once again, of course. And after a somewhat of a slightly cooler weekend between the 12th, or I'm sorry, the 11th and the 12th, that will start to not drop, but increase the temperatures back in the 80s and into the lower 90s for most of the southeast. So a little bit of a summer-like pattern maybe making a comeback then. And then by the time we head into Tuesday, October 14th, yet the dry pattern will stick with us here for the southeast, including here in Florida, as all this moisture again continues to push away from the region. And yet we'll be feeling a little bit more like summer for now, heading into the same day as we can see temperatures yet heat up in the low, perhaps if not in the mid 90s for I-10, and slightly up north across the lower half of Mississippi, Alabama, and for South Georgia. But for us here in Central and South Florida, we'll likely see temperatures stay yet close to average in the 80s and into the lower 90s. But it looks like another front may start to move in from north to south heading into the morning of the 14th, as it shows numbers dropping in the 50s and low 60s for areas between Birmingham, Atlanta, and off towards the far east you go towards the Augusta areas. And that could be the same case for lows also heading into the 15th of October. Again, from Birmingham eastward in the 50s and low 60s, yet related to a potential front moving in. And then here's still not the second half, but the first half of the day on Wednesday the 15th, and it shows yet the dry pattern remaining here for the southeast. Again, as all this moisture still remains farther down to the southeast you go towards the Caribbean and the Bahamas region. And these are low temperatures, and yet As I mentioned before, the 50s and 60s up here for the Mississippi Valley region. Yeah, with that new front arriving, and then you got some upper 60s and low 70s for now here in central Florida, and a little warmer down south into Brevard County and points south to go towards the Keys, where they're expecting yet some 70s and lower 80s. So there you have it there. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and sign out of Facebook Live on this Monday night or afternoon, excuse me. And I'll have the next update back here tomorrow night, this time at 8 p.m. So I should be able to do the forecast then. And I'll continue as usual by posting more notes and updates on my blog and social media platforms 24/7. Also, in the meantime, please continue to stay safe by taking care of yourselves and each other. And God bless.